Stage is clearly now set for a new battle over Obamacare and a possible government shutdown before the end of September. Some Republicans say they're willing to go that far in an attempt to defund what's called the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare. Let's talk about that and much more with the former Republican Congressman Ron Paul. He's retired from Congress, but he's still very busy. We've got some new information, Congressman, about your new chapter. But let's talk a little bit about Obamacare and Republicans, because Newt Gingrich, the former House Speaker, now the co-host of the new CNN Crossfire, he said this yesterday. He said, "I will bet you, for most of you, you go home in the next 2 weeks when your members of Congress are home and you look them in the eye and you say, 'What is your positive replacement for Obamacare?' They will have zero answer." He says, you know, it's one thing to just complain about Obamacare, but you need an alternative, and the Republicans don't have one now. What say you?
Well, I think there is an alternative, and I actually practiced medicine under that alternative before Medicare and Medicaid, and it wasn't all that bad. People weren't suffering. There was nobody out in the street without medical care. So I think the market offers an alternative. But Republicans have never had a good alternative. They generally just say, well, a little less Obamacare type, medicine, it would be adequate. But the only thing that they have offered that I think would be important to allow people to have some choice is to have the medical savings account, let people opt out. This pressure and mandate that you have to be in it, that's un-American. Why can't people take care of themselves if they want to and are capable of doing it? But, you know, they're worried about the close down of the government. And I worry about that too. But I worry about it in a little different manner, because I opposed all the expansion of government in all the programs, because I thought we were en route to a very serious economic disaster. But the closing down that I worry about is the closing down of this country with something similar to what's happened in Detroit. So just the fact that you're for Obamacare and for the government taking care of us from cradle to grave, that doesn't mean anything if you can't pay for it.
Congressman,
and we're running out of steam right now and running out of ability to pay for all this government.
But if there were no Affordable Care Act, what, 30 million, maybe more Americans would still have no health insurance. There's something, got to do something about that, right?
Well, yes, it's a complicated problem because of how it was messed up. I was raised in a family of 5 in the Depression, World War II. They never had insurance, and nobody went without insurance. But it's the system that has been created by government intervention that makes people do this. The whole idea of how you get a tax deduction. You know, the fact that big corporations can get a tax deduction, they can give medical care to the people. But if you're an independent or a small business owner, you are excluded. So you want to get rid of the hindrances and just not dwell on, well, what are the complications when you get rid of all the bad things the government's been doing for a long time? People have lost confidence. They've lost the understanding. They never want to apply market forces to medical care, and yet they've been applied many, many times. It's the fact that the government's been so involved that the cost is so high. This is the real problem. Cost of medicine is way too high because right now we have corporate medicine. And under this administration as well, the drug companies, insurance companies, organized medicine, they're the ones who write these laws. It's corporations that are making out on this deal.
All right, Congressman, I got a few quick political questions. Give me some quick answers. Then we're going to move on to you and what you're up to right now. The New Jersey Governor, Chris Christie, he spoke at the RNC. Is he someone you could vote for?
No, I couldn't vote for him because I don't think he agrees with probably anything I say.
So if he were the Republican nominee in 2016, you wouldn't vote for him?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do it because he offers nothing, no change. It's the status quo. It's more big government, and that's not what I've been about. But he talks about, well, you have to, bend your rules and compromise in order to get elected so you can run the government and govern. Well, there's more to it than that, more to it than just power and to say and do anything you want just to be in government. You have to believe in something and understand economics, or you just keep doing the same thing and deficits keep running up. And that's why nothing changes whether you have a Republican or a Democrat, because basically it's one party, and that's where the frustration comes from. And now they're arguing over power alone and not issues.
Does your son, Senator Rand Paul, have what it takes to do what you couldn't do, namely win the Republican presidential nomination in 2016?
Well, I would think so, certainly. I think it's a little early to be talking about this. You know, some of my supporters are still wanting to count the votes from last year, so I think it's a little bit early to start talking about 2016. But no, he's certainly capable. Compared to the rest, yeah, he certainly is capable.
Who would you prefer as the next Fed chair, Larry Summers or Janet Yellen?
Well, I don't have either one because they're identical, because they both believe in the Federal Reserve. They believe in central economic planning through the regulation of interest rates and monetary expansion. So my choice has been NOTA, none of the above, because the two that you talk about, they believe that you should, come to the rescue of all corporations and all banks, be the lender of last resort, and bail everybody out, and monetizing debt. You can never change the course of what's happening in this country, which is a downhill course economically, by endorsing this principle that's 100 years old, and it's destroyed 98% of the value of our dollar since we started the Federal Reserve in 1913. It's a bad policy, and to say, oh, well, there's a big difference between Yellen and Summers, there just really isn't. They believe that central economic planning is something wonderful, and they're smart enough to know what the interest rates ought to be and what the money supply ought to be. No one person is capable of doing that. That can only be established by the marketplace.
I see a sign behind you. It says the Ron Paul Channel. All right, so what's up with that? You want to compete with us? What are you planning on doing, Congressman?
Yeah, well, yes, we are competing with everybody in the sense of getting the news out, but this is an internet channel. It gives me an opportunity to keep doing what I've been doing for 35 years, talking about the issues. And CNN and Fox, nobody offered me a job on regular TV, so I thought I'd go with the competition, which allows me a lot of flexibility. And one advantage I have with an internet channel is I don't have to worry about advertisers. I don't have to worry about time circumstances. I can go about my own speed. So there's a lot of advantages to this, but the most important thing is I see this as an opportunity for me to continue to do what I have considered important ever since 1974, the first time I ever ran for office, and that is talking about what I think is important, and it really is the cause of liberty. I think that is so important, whether it's civil liberties, a sensible foreign policy, or economic liberty. And there's a large number of people coming together on this, certainly on the college campuses where I go frequently, and the reception is good because most of the young people realize that we're in serious trouble and we cannot continue with the status quo. So I'm very happy that I have this opportunity to continue to talk about the issues.
Yeah, I see you're still as feisty as ever. One quick question. It's not cheap creating this new internet channel, the Ron Paul Channel. Who's coming up with the cash to pay for it?
Well, the people who want to look at it will have to, because I don't have the advertisers to do that. So people who sign up will pay a fee for this. But somebody, and I've had criticism even from some of my friends. They say, oh, almost $10 a month, and that's pretty expensive. But guess what? That's the price of 2 Sunday New York Times newspapers, and you know what newspapers are doing these days. So they have $10 they want to spend on 2 Sunday editions of the New York Times, or come and hear some information and interviews that I have to offer on the channel. I happen to think it's a pretty good deal for the subscribers.
Now, what's Ashton Kutcher's role in all of this? Because there are reports he was among those who were financing it.
Who was it?
Ashton Kutcher, the actor.
Well, I didn't hear that, but that doesn't sound right to me. I don't have any one person financing it.
Not one person, but he was among those who have been supporting you, but you're not familiar with him. He's an actor. He plays Steve Jobs in the new film about Steve Jobs.
No. If he's a supporter of mine, I'm just sorry. I apologize to him for not recognizing it.
You have a lot of supporters, Congressman. Over the years, we've gotten to know you quite well, and we always appreciate your joining us here in the Situation Room. Good luck with the Ron Paul Channel on the internet. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Wolf.
Up next, the neighborhood.